Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Pitlochry High School's first ever virtual prize giving. Many thanks to Annabelle and Joseph for playing us in there with Scotland the Brave and Mary's Wedding. Of all the things that I might have imagined happening to us during the year, I can honestly say that this didn't feature. I'd like to start by saying how immensely proud I am of the way our whole school community has faced these challenging times. Staff, pupils and parents have approached online learning with enthusiasm, with creativity and with a much needed sense of humour. There's a lot of talk around about the new normal, and I think we're perhaps only just starting to understand what that might mean for us. That aside, it would have just not felt right to finish the year without sharing our experiences, our learning and the impact these have had on us during our time at Pitlochry High School. Before we start, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to 3 members of staff who will be leaving us at the end of this month. Firstly, to Mrs Joan Black, who has worked at Pitlochry High School as a pupil support assistant. Joan has worked with groups and individuals over her many years at the school and has a real talent for forming relationships with our young people. She has enjoyed seeing their successes as they've gone through primary and then into secondary, and indeed for many of them as she sees them in the community too. She's had the pleasure of working with generations of families in Pitlochry, and we owe her a debt of gratitude for all the input she's put to our young people. Mrs Black, thank you very much for all you have done. And secondly, to Mrs Rhoda Watley, who's worked with us as a pupil support teacher. Her communication skills, calm approach and enthusiasm for learning are ideally suited to her role. She has worked closely with a wide range of staff, children and families to plan and deliver next steps in learning on an individual and small group basis. This work has been invaluable to many and has allowed our young people, working in conjunction with the teaching staff and support staff, to fulfil their potential. Mrs Watley has been on a career break for the last year, and we now wish her and her family every success and happiness in the next exciting chapter of their lives. And lastly, to Mrs Jan Hay. Mrs Hay has fulfilled many roles in her time at Pitlochry High School, both in primary and in nursery. She too has had the privilege of teaching generations of families as they come through the school. She is a committed, enthusiastic and creative member of staff. Her kindness and support will be sadly missed by colleagues and pupils alike. Mrs Hay always puts the child at the centre and sees the sky as the limit, and these are both qualities that I very much admire. We wish Mrs Hay every happiness in the next chapter of her life and look forward to seeing her again in school. Thank you all for the differences you have made to the lives and long-term outcomes of our young people. We will miss you. And now to the virtual prize giving. I am delighted that, as usual, our young people will help me to take you through our year. We're going to start with a collection of photos from nursery and early years, and this will be accompanied by Sophia Gonzalez-Campbell playing Quella for Caitlin on the piano. Thank you, Sophia. That was really uplifting. And now we have Charlie and Vihan telling us about their year in P4.
We are Charlie and Vihan from Primary 4, and we are going to tell you about our social enterprise topic, charity. In January, we started researching to find out what a charity is and discover that there are many different sorts of charities. Our next task was to decide which charity we could help. We held a vote, and the most popular choice with the class was an animal charity. After drawing up a short list, we voted again. The winners were the Dogs Trust and the Blue Cross. We now had to decide what to do to raise money for these charities. We invited some visitors to come to school to help us. First was Dan, who runs the Bernardo charity shop in Pitlochry. Next, we had an enterprise workshop with Richard and Greg from Elevator. Then, Lily Ann's mum, Carrie, came in to talk to us. We learned all about making a profit and lots of useful information about how to organize a successful event. We did some brainstorming to generate ideas and discuss the pros and cons of each suggestion. We narrowed it down to a handful and put them in a survey for the other classes to choose from. The majority of children wanted a toy and book sale. We designed posters and leaflets advertising our sale and asking for donations. At the same time, we also decided to hold a competition that grown-ups could take part in. We wrote to Mrs. Laney to ask for a loan of £5 to buy a chocolate bunny as a prize for the Guess the Bunny's name competition. Mrs. Laney was persuaded to invest the promise of getting her money returned with 10% interest.
Hello. With 3 weeks to go before the sale, everything seemed to be going well. Donations were coming in and we had booked a table for the community cafe for the competition. We wrote letters to the local businesses asking them to support our fundraising too, but we were not able to send these letters. The coronavirus changed everything. We were told that the school will close in 2 days. Suddenly it seemed as if all our plans and hard work seemed to be for nothing. But we decided we're not gonna give up. We got permission to hold our sale on what was to be our last day of school. Everyone pulled together. All the squares on Guess the Bunny's name competition were sold and our classroom became a shop. The children who were still at school came to buy toys and books. It was great fun. We managed to raise incredible £206.70 for Dogs Trust and Blue Cross. Our charity topic was a great success. We would thank everyone who helped to make this possible. We learned lots of new skills, but probably the most important lesson was not to give up. When things get difficult, as there will always be another way to solve the problem. Thank you. Bye.
Many thanks, boys. It was lovely to hear about your year. And now we have Martha, Ruby and Kira from P5.
One of the topics in P5 was the Victorians. We learned how the people lived in the 19th century. Julie, Natalie and Jonah from the costume department from the theatre visited our class to talk about what clothes the Victorians wore. Rich men wore tailed coats, top hats and cravats. Rich ladies wore petticoats, bonnets and ankle boots. Poor people had to wear rags or what they could find. The visitors had brought in Victorian clothes to look at and try on. I tried on a big puffy dress which I loved wearing, but it was uncomfortable when I sat down. There was lots of laughter.
Before school closed, our class went swimming every Tuesday. We would do our work in the morning, then have our lunch. After lunch, we went outside for a bit, then at 1 o'clock, Mrs. Cardew would call us inside. Everyone got their swimming bags. Then we were all ready to get on the bus. Once we got to Aberfeldy, we all got changed and jumped in the pool. There were two groups, the beginners and the improvers. I was in the improvers group. We did lots of activities. We did front stroke, back stroke and more. Once the lesson was over, we went to get changed. Then we were back on the bus. Sadly, because of the coronavirus, we couldn't go on the last week, but I really enjoyed every other week.
This year has threatened to tear us apart, but instead we have become stronger.
We have all had to help each other, including Mrs. Cardew, as we've had to learn how to use Teams for our learning and teaching each morning. We've met as a class to chat with one another, and it's been great to hear everyone's voices. We have done so many amazing projects and activities. My favourite project was about hedgehogs. This has encouraged me to learn more about hedgehogs and their environment. A baby hedgehog is called a hoglet, a mother hedgehog is called a sow, a father is called a boar. And please watch out when you are tidying your garden. Thankfully, the weather has been very good so that we can go out for fresh air and get our daily exercise and even read our books outside if we wish. It has been hard not seeing friends and family. I miss playing with my school friends during our breaks and going to our clubs. Keep in touch with friends is so important. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, girls, for telling us about your year. Now it's over to Ollie and Isla to tell us the news from P6.
Hello, this year has been very different and strange for Primary 6. We have been off school now for 3 months, so we have been doing our learning from home. Miss Anderson sets us daily tasks to complete on Seesaw. She is able to see what we are all doing throughout the day when we upload our completed work. Daily tasks. I have also been doing projects of my own. My favourite has been learning about Alexander Watson Watt. Sir Robert invented radar. Radar is a system for detecting the presence, direction, distance and speed of aircraft, ships and other objects by sending our radio signals which reflects off the object.
What P6 enjoyed working on this year. These are some of the things we enjoyed this year in class. The first thing I enjoyed doing was having the man in to talk about canoeing and kayaking. I've always wanted to do canoeing because my dad has a kayak, so I've already been on one. I would have taken the classes for learning how to canoe, but I have Highland dancing on that day. When the man came in to talk, he put on a video to show us how to kayak and canoe, who the champions were, and some of them even go to lessons with him. And he also showed us the place where they compete. The next thing I enjoyed was making board games and partners. I liked making the maths board games because you got to pair up with your friend and you also got to do anything with your board game. I was partners with Isla Mackenzie and we did a times table, adding and division board game, and we called it Times Up. When you got to number 92, it was 92 divided by 0 and you had to go back to the start. The next thing I enjoyed was the badminton tournament. Not everyone in the class did it, but some people from the class took part. On that day before we left, we got assigned partners for the double match, and I got assigned with Isla Mackenzie again. When we got there, there was an auditorium where we sat and put our bags when it was not our turn. We then went onto the practice ground and played. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was a lot of fun. The other thing I enjoyed doing was bikeability. I recently got a new road bike, but at the time I had a mountain bike. I liked it because I usually go out cycles with my family, but this time I got to do it with my friends. We did the end check on our bikes, which we always do, and it's called the end check because the way you check your bike is in the M shape. So first it's the front tire, then the handlebars, then the pedals, then the seat, then the back tire. Mr. Sheriff took this class in school. I love cycling and recently have competed the ETAP challenge covering over 85 miles during several days and bike rides with my family. We did lots of fun things this year in school, and now we are doing lots of fun things at home due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Thank you both for sharing your experiences with us. And now over to Brodie, Orla and Holly from P7 to talk to us about their skills development through the medium of the school show.
For the Christmas show, our P7 class teamed up with P6. For a month, we worked on learning our lines, finding costumes and rehearsing a lot. It was great fun. We were all very happy that the show was a great success. During class, our hard work turns to writing and maths. We have maths every day for an hour. It can be very hard, but if we focus, concentrate and be positive, we can do it. It really pays off to work hard.
Projection is one of the key elements of my voice. When doing things like our brilliant Christmas show, Mystery at Magpie Manor, and presentations about famous people and animals, projection is needed. I think you will know that it is quite annoying when people do not project their voices. For my role in our Christmas play, I had to put on a very posh English gentleman's accent. It makes the experience much better when the performer stays in character throughout the show. It also makes the performance more relatable.
This year I have been concentrating on improving my confidence. I have done more presentations and have put my hand up for more things I wouldn't usually want to do at assembly. Since I am quiet, I am a good listener, unlike some people that shout out all the time. I go to Scouts after school on Mondays. We work together in teams, which is good for my confidence. On Mondays I also play badminton. Playing sport with your friends is great for your confidence. This year I also acted in the Christmas show, which was great fun.
I moved into P7 later on than the others in my class, so my confidence was quite low. Then I found out we were doing a Christmas show. I got really nervous to start with. Once we had gotten all of our parts and we started practicing on stage, my confidence grew and grew. I think if I hadn't done the show, my confidence wouldn't even be half of what it is today.
Thank you very much. I know that these skills will stand you all in good stead both now and in the future. And so to the primary prize winners, accompanied by Ruby Conisby playing the entertainer. Thank you, Ruby. That was super. And now Isla and Rory, our outgoing head boy and head girl, are going to talk us through the year in secondary and their experiences of school at Pitlochry.
It's been a strange end to our year as head boy and head girl at Pitlochry High School, but we have still managed to have a great year and would like to thank the staff at Pitlochry for keeping everything as normal for us as they could during this difficult time. I would just like to take this time to share with you some of the highlights from this year. This year, our S2 pupils took part in the Rapid Response Engineering Challenge, which happened over a 2-week period. During this time, throughout different subjects, they learned basic first aid skills, researched rapid response agencies, learned about water filtration and skills you need during natural disasters. After putting all this work in, they were given the opportunity to work in teams and put these new skills to the test. Each team had to complete 6 challenges: water transportation and filtration, outdoor cooking, first aid, emergency shelter building, and orienteering, which was in a foreign language. Each team was given points for each activity they did and how well they worked as a team. This year, our winning team was Drew Crothers, Hayley Huthwaite, and Natasha Creel. Well done to them, and well done to all the S2 pupils who took part in the successful day. This year, Junior Rangers was available for both S2 and S3 pupils. This meant that there were more volunteers to help with the work, with a good mix of both year groups. Some highlights for the year were out on the lower slopes of Ben Brackey, carrying out essential path maintenance with our PKC Green Space Ranger, Jeannie Grant. They managed to make some lovely hot cocoa using Kelly kettles. They also carried out a badger survey at Blair Athol with Blair Athol Estate Ranger Julie Duncan. Unfortunately, they did not see any badgers, but did find some recent badger poo and some badger hair as evidence of use in a badger set. They emptied out a huge kiln of charcoal with the assistance of the National Trust for Scotland Ranger Service, specifically Emma O'Shea. The charcoal was graded and bagged to be sold in the visitor centre at Killiecrankie. After emptying it out, they then filled it up with fresh beech logs to begin the process of grating charcoal again. They also spent a day in school on a Saturday making signs and bird boxes, with help from Heather Hamilton of Highland Purser Duncoylig Community Trust. The trust is replanting native hardwood trees to restore the land around Schiehallion. A huge well done to all the junior rangers for all their hard work and giving up their time to help rangers. After spending many weeks in PE learning social dances, it culminated in a mass gathering of all pupils in the gym hall to put into practice all they learned through a ceilidh. I was disappointed to have missed this, but by all accounts it was enjoyed by all. During this year's Rotary Young Chef Cook-Off, Jackie Stewart came out on top with Ethan Leach and Michael Thompson achieving runners-up position. This meant that Jackie qualified to take part in the regional competition in Dundee on the 25th of February, where she represented the school. Huge well done to Jackie. Due to the school closure this year, the S2s were not able to complete the normal process to gain their John Muir Discovery Award. However, the S2s were able to complete the programme from home using their four main ethos of discover a wild place, explore the wild place, conserve and then share. By using their local area and nature near their homes, they were able to work through tasks assigned from technical, art and music for 3 weeks to successfully complete their awards by making a film or slideshow to share their progress throughout the challenge. In October, Pitlochry High School entered their enterprising maths competition against 20 other teams across Perth and Kinross. The team came in third place using their mathematical ability, but they also got praised by the organisers for their excellent teamwork, attention to detail and good nature. They've now set the bar high for next year's competitors and kept Pitlochry High School's high standards. One of my personal highlights from this year was the trip to Barcelona last summer. While on the trip, we managed to fit a lot of activities into our time, from visiting Camp Nou to getting a guided tour around the beautiful city. We got to visit the beach as well as spend some time shopping with our friends, and then my personal favourite, our trip to Portaventura. As you can see, there was a good variety of activities, so something for everyone, although I can imagine most people would agree with me when I say that Portaventura was by far the best experience.
When looking back over our time at Pitlochry, we remember some great memories and experiences that would have not been possible without the help of our amazing staff. I'm going to give you a brief summary of some of these memories and experiences through important numbers that have gained value to us after reflecting the past. For example, 3 is the number of head teachers we've had since Primary 1. Mrs. Dobbins, Mrs. Pupillo, and currently Mrs. Laney. They have all brought great things to the school and let us reach our highest potential in every way possible. 3 doesn't just represent that though. In fact, it represents many things. 3 is the amount of times that most of us have moved up in the school, from nursery to primary to secondary. 3 is also the number of languages Pitlochry has tried to teach me: French, Spanish and English. 6 is the number of talent shows that we've had in this school with our very own professional judges and a large range of talented acts. However, 0 is the number of good staff acts we've had so far. Sorry Spice Girls and Mr. Delhunt. 2019 was S4's chance for the DFE Bronze Award, where 3 out of 4 tents were successfully pitched up. And 15 is the number of miles we walked, using our mapping skills for directions. 9 is the number of different instruments we've had a go at in music with Mrs. Daly. And 10 is the number of minutes per day we would spend getting a relaxing start to our day in tutor time with lots of different activities, from reading, board games, quizzes, or even meditation. 11 is the number of years the ladies from the dining and library have been unconditionally kind to us and given us free food. 12 is the number of probationer teachers we've had and have been taught by in PE, which we all came to love and hated saying goodbye to. 14 is the number of years the school have been offering the mini ETAP for children of all cycling abilities to choose between going round Loch Rannoch, along the River Tummel, or up parts of Schiehallion and back to the school. And 2020 is everyone's favourite year so far. Not really. Despite not having them in front of us, we wish the best of luck to our new head boy and girl and our new prefects, and hope they enjoy this year as much as we did.
Thank you both very much for that resume of the year and your time at Pitlochry. And now to the secondary prize winners. accompanied by Luca Barry playing the guitar, Ethan Leach playing the clarinet, and Rebecca McCartney playing the piano. thank you all very much for the musical accompaniment. Under the circumstances, we haven't been able to say our usual goodbye to S4, but thanks to Mrs. Lake, we are now all able to share the collage of photos of their time at Pitlochry. And now a few words from one of our school chaplains, Reverend Mary Haddo.
Once a wise teacher was talking to her class near the end of term, and she gave them an assignment to do before the school closed for the summer. She said, go out and find a small unnoticed flower somewhere. It may be in a crack in the pavement or under a hedge or beside a bench. It may even be in your own garden. And she asked them to study the flower for a long time. Get a magnifying glass and study the delicate veins in the petals and notice the slight changes of colour. Turn its leaves slowly and look at how symmetrical they are. See if there's any damage. but look for its beauty. And remember that this flower might have gone unnoticed and unappreciated if you had not found it and admired it. A couple of days later, the class shared their findings. Then the teacher said, people are like that. Each one is different, amazingly crafted, uniquely gifted. But you have to spend time with them to know this. So many people go unnoticed and unappreciated because no one has ever taken the time to be with them and admire their uniqueness. There's a book in the Bible where we are told that God knows us inside and out, and we're also told that we are loved. I want each of you to know that and to accept that you are appreciated by those who have taken the time to get to know you, and to know that you are unique, meaning that no two are the same, and we were never meant to be, so don't compare yourself to others. And as we look to the future and a new term, or new schools or new jobs, be prepared to take time to really get to know others, to appreciate them for who they are, and let them get to know you. Because you might just discover new friendships, and you might just change someone's life and your own, because you took that time to notice and appreciate them. As we come to the end of this term, we take the time now to pray. Let us pray. As the end of this school year approaches, we give thanks to God for all the teaching and learning that have taken place in our school, both in and out of the classroom, for the talents and gifts that have been shared and all the challenges that have been faced and overcome, for the difficult things that we've been helped with and the hurts that have been healed, for the respect and the care that have been given. And we give thanks for the friendships that have just begun and for those that have grown. We give thanks for the community that we're part of, and we ask you, God, to bless our young people as they start their new year group or await exam results. Bless our families over these summer months. May our time together leave us with good memories. And bless our teachers and staff for all they have done and all they will do in the coming months. Keep us all safe in our activities. Give us good rest and good fun. And bring us back refreshed and ready for a new term. Amen.
That concludes our annual prize giving. A special thank you to Mr Burrow, Mrs Thompson, Mrs Daly, Mr Turnbull and also to Miss Mitchell for organising the technical side of today's prize giving. Thank you to the pupils for embracing online learning and sharing their experiences with us, to the parents for supporting our young people for the last 13 weeks and for the whole school community for your unfailing support and encouragement of our work. Thank you to the staff for working so hard above and beyond to upskill the creative use of ICT in such a short space of time, whilst retaining important relationships with classes and driving forward learning and attainment. Finally, a special thank you to my senior management team, without whose input, support and encouragement, none of this would have been possible. Many thanks to Annabelle and Joseph for playing us out with A Delight and Drops of Brandy. Have a lovely, well-deserved summer break. I will be in touch with you to keep you up to date with our ever-changing landscape. Goodbye.